I don't know, English lavender is what you eat. It's what they grow for, you know, kind of the medicinal aromatherapy, culinary type. And the Grosso's grown predominantly for your value-added products, your topical products. They also use the hydrosols off of this for cosmetics, face toners, stuff like that. It just, both of the hydrosols and the oils have too many things that they can do to even list. I mean, it's just a laundry list of cleaners, basically. Lavender is to wash, and that's what it does. It's antifungal, it's an astringent, it's an antibacterial, it has solvent properties. It's just an amazing, wonderful plant. And it is great to eat, as you guys probably know if you're eating the cookies. So, and the bread is really good too. So that's kind of it. And we are an integrated farm. I feel kind of strongly about that. Lavender is a specialty cash crop that we are trying to establish its viability here in this region. And I think that successful farming is integrated farming because customers want more than just one thing. So we try to span out and reach a lot of different markets. We have a small CSA that supports us quite nicely that we're very happy about. Woo woo! And so integrated farming, I think, is the way to successful farming.
Absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions?
How many varieties do you grow?
Oh boy, you would ask me something I can't answer.
I would.
One French right now.
Okay.
And quite a few English. We have predominantly in here is Fulgate, and the other thing that we're growing is Mayette, and then we're going for the pinks, which we have Miss Catherine and we have Hidcoat Pink. I personally am pink person, not purple. I like the pink hydrosols. They seem to be sweeter, more flavorful than the purple, but I like the purple. The Fulgate is what you ate in the cookie, and so that's what we're growing predominantly. Then we have a couple of continuous bloomers over here, Buena Vista. Your lavenders always have different bloom patterns, so if you're going to be putting it in landscaping, you will need to maybe consider that if it's important to you, because you're going to have some, they'll say they're a one-time bloomer, but you know, if you get in and you get your harvest, a lot of times you'll get a second harvest on the Englishes and the Frenches as well.
So you can prune it at any time?
Well, it's better to prune it when there's certain requirements on the bud development. That's not a big deal. I mean, if you're growing it for yourself, when it's whatever you want it to be, you go out there and take it.
Okay.
But it's not going to provide you with another flower till you take what's on it. And it's, to me, I like to prune the plants because it invigorates them for more growth. And so, you know, we pruned these all this spring, not because we wanted to. We had a lot of winter damage, and thank God we didn't have a lot of plant loss, but we just had a ton of damage that needed to get cleaned out of the way so the sun could get into the plant and it could take off again. So we kind of got really shorted, I think, on what our crop would have been this year, but we had the hottest summer and the coldest winter. And even this summer or this spring, when we got our plants in the early, like February, it was so hot and so cold that they really didn't know what to do. So they kind of sat in suspension and the roots would not grow. And so we had a lot of plant loss with that as well. Just because the plant didn't know what it wanted to do because it was cold and hot and cold and hot and it was confused.
Yeah.
But
Have you harvested your English?
yes, the English.
That's why there's no blooms on her English over here.
The English is harvested, and the first 4 rows over there is pink. If anybody wants to go and walk and look at what the pinks look like.
And her intermediate, the Grosso over here, that's just coming into bloom, so they haven't harvested that yet. So what she's trying to say is if we're growing it for landscaping purposes, the Englishes bloom early, like in June, and the intermediates bloom in July. And they bloom once, but the English can bloom either all summer or give you 2 good blooms, depending on your variety. So because we had such a hot spring and summer, this is already gone and they're already making products from it. But this is here, it's what would you say, a week away? Is it?
As soon as this Lavender Festival leaves town, we're going to be distilling. So it was left there for a reason.
Okay.
So you do your own distilling?
We do now, yes. We have a small food grade still. It's 3/16 stainless steel, and the smaller distill, the higher grade quality oil you get. And we're getting food grade as well. So
And
the hydrosols is what carries your oil through the still. We use the hydrosols in off of this stuff, the English. We use it in our lemonades. We have people that want to use it in their margaritas and their mojitos. A hydrosol is basically, I would say, the closest thing to like rose water. You could call it lavender water. What it is when your still is, steaming and carrying these oils.
We saw that at the last stop.
And it's a vapor. Well, it squeezes that vapor back into a liquid form when it comes through and, carries it through your condenser. So it's basically distilled lavender water but we call it hydrosol.
So that's the water that you drained off to leave the oil. That's the hydrosol.
Yes, your hydrosols
so
will be
not
on
a
the
waste
bottom.
product.
No, they used to think it was a waste product. They really, I don't know what they were thinking, and I don't know if they were thinking because there was a distilling thing or what, but they used to throw it away. And then they realized, hey, this has all the qualities of what it just carried through the still, so what are we doing throwing it away? Because it's just in a diluted format. Those oils you can get into danger zones because they're so potent. A hydrosol, you'd have to, I don't know, I think you could bathe completely in a hydrosol and never be harmed. But the oils, can be a little more tricky.
How is the oil distilling equipment different, say, than a moonshine distilling equipment?
I would venture to not even answer that because I don't know. But when I figure it out,
Because my son has
we're going to have a good time over here.
I have a moonshine distilling.
Honey, we're
set up
going to
in my
have some
basement.
lavender stuff you ain't never had in your life.
So on your irrigation,
Yes.
you're just using drip hose as opposed to having drip heads at each plant?
What this is it's Netafim, and it's Israeli, I think, or Australia. I think it's Israel. But basically what we have here is that's an internal emitter, and they're going to be here every 12 inches. And we are a closed irrigation system, okay? So we don't put anything back into the Colorado River. We use a lot of high dollar weed mat. We use the plastics. So every hour that I run my system, the first thing I do is pressure my system up and blow the air out of these tubes, and you can hear them whistling as you're walking through the field. There's a foot valve down there, and I open it up, and the pressure on my pump will clean the emitters. So I can see by looking at my water how filthy it is, and I'll stop flushing when my water's clean. And so once it's clean, I'm going to get 0.41 gallons out of each one of these holes every hour I run my pump, and this zone is on. So I usually, like on this one, I'll run it for 3 hours, but I won't do that. These have gotten weaned right now to about every 6 days. They get watered. But it was every day, then it was every other day, and it's such a slow process. Every third day, then you get it out to every 10 days. Because what you want, there's bark mulch in here, but what you want is that plant to get thirsty and those roots to go down to the pan. Because that's where they're going to need to be in the wintertime. And winter water, I can't say that enough. You will lose your plants if you do not winter water, and you can take that to the bank.
Regardless of your zone. So you have to be somewhere where you can hook up to city.